Big welcome everyone, my name is Janette and I'm from Kay's Flower School, and today you're taking part in what we're calling the 12 days of Christmas. So over the next 20 days, not just 12 days, we're going to have a different demonstration tutorial coming up every day, showing you different ways of decorating door wreaths. And lots of the styles that we will show you are not included or part of our online classes. So again, there's always something new to learn, there's always something different to learn. And as I say here at the school, you never stop learning. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of exactly what I'm going to use today and where you can buy it. So the first thing that I have here, sorry Deirdre, the first thing that I have here is a pre-made base. So this is a pre-made base that's available from Irish Green Guys. So Irish Green Guys is a wholesaler. They're based in Kerry. They supply the UK and obviously the Irish market and some parts of the European market as well. But obviously because it's a wholesaler, you do have to buy them in bulk, okay? So what I recommend is that if you're just looking for one or two of them, and you know what I'm going to need to do is a bag of the cones. They're on the right hand side in under the press. What I do recommend, sorry, my mind is thinking 100 things it doesn't here, is if you're just looking to buy one base, buy it in from O'Neill's Flowers. They're in Carlingford, County Louth. And that way then you can just buy one individual base from them, or you can buy two or three if you want to. And they sell them in small quantities and they're very reasonably priced. And they ship them all over the world. So not just in Ireland, Northern Ireland, all parts of the UK, England, Scotland and Wales, but also parts of Europe. And when you're on to them, there's lots of other stuff that you can buy, not just the pre-made base. And everything that I'm going to use here today, you can probably buy from O'Neill's Flowers as well. So I want this wreath to be a little bit different. This isn't going to be your traditional door wreath. It's not going to be everybody's taste as well. So what I have here is a bunch of eucalyptus. It's dried eucalyptus. It's dead eucalyptus. So at some stage, especially if you're into floristry, you will have a bucket of eucalyptus yourself that's gone a little bit dead, a little bit dried. And what we have done, and we bought this in done already, but it's just sprayed copper. So you can buy a tin of copper spray and just spray it. And what I'm doing is I'm just cutting it up into little sprigs and just getting as much mileage out of it, even that piece there, as I possibly can. So out of that one stem there, I got about 6 pieces. This one isn't as full, so I'll probably get 2 pieces out of that one. This one here, I'll possibly get 4 pieces out of that one. See that they're all different, but you can just see, I'm just trying to get as good a value out of the sprayed eucalyptus as I possibly can. So again, I got 3 pieces out of that, and I'll possibly only get 2 pieces out of that. So again, it's a great way of using up your dried or your dead eucalyptus. And if you're not into the copper spray, you can buy the spray in lots of different colours. So if you find that silver suits you best, you can buy a silver spray. And like the brands of sprays that we use would be what's called the Oasis brand, okay? So Oasis is a floral company based in the UK. They're based in America, to be honest, they're based all over the world. And they would supply the florist business with all of the materials. So even the wires I'm going to use now, which I'll talk about in a second, you can buy all of them directly from Oasis. They have a hobby section. So again, if you want to buy small quantities, or again, if you're a florist, you can buy it from their wholesale section. But everything, as I said, that I'm using today can be bought from your local wholesaler. This one's just a bit big, so I'm just kind of making it into 2 little sprigs. And I will explain how to wire this now in a second. But I have a lot of wiring to do, so I'm just kind of like getting some of it organised. Now the wires, what wires do you need? You need a 20 gauge wire, and you need it 12 inches in length. And again, you can buy that from O'Neill's Flowers when you're buying your pre-made base. But there's lots of wholesalers around the country that sell all this stuff, but also your local flower shop. So if you didn't want to buy like big bunches of the wires, you could go into your local flower shop and she'll sell you a small quantity of them. The 20 gauge means the thickness of the wire, because there is wires out there that are lighter or thicker than the one that I'm using. And if it's too light, it's not going to work. And if it's too heavy, you won't be able to do what I'm doing there today. See, I'm wrapping the wires around the bases. So 20 gauge is the thickness of the wire. And I recommend that you either buy it in 10 inch in length or 12 inch in length. So whichever one you decide. Personally, I find the 12 inch is better, and you'll see that when I'm going to wire up the pine cones, like where the longer wire just gives me a little bit more scope. So now I'm going to show you how am I wiring up that eucalyptus. So you take up your piece of eucalyptus, and I'm just going to take off them bottom leaves, okay? Just so that you can see the clean stem. Now remember, you can always rewind this video and watch it again if you need to see it in more detail. You get your wire and you make a hook at the top of the wire, and I'm going to hold it against the wall just so that you can see that there, right? That hook that I have just made is called a hairpin bend, or some people call it a one-legged mount because it only has one leg at the moment. As you get more experience, you can make that hook a little bit shorter, because there'll always be a hierarchy florist out there who knows it all and is going to say, Janette, that hook is too big. Anyone I'm showing this to is a complete beginner, so they need to know how to do it. If you're experienced, you shouldn't even be watching this. You should know how to do this hook. The next thing then is the piece of foliage. I was being sarcastic there, by the way. The piece of foliage, hold it, I'm right-handed. So hold it in your left hand, with your left hand holding it on top. Can you see the way my hand is holding it on top? A lot of people will hold it underneath, and it's much harder to do it that way because the hand keeps getting in the way. So place your hand on top of it, okay? Leaving that little bit of stem sticking out. With my right hand, I hold the wire. Now it makes no difference if the hook goes in front of the stem or behind the stem. I always put it in facing me so I see it, but really it makes no difference. So I'm going to put it in facing you so you can see it. I'm just going to slide it up there, lift my finger, slide it up there and put my finger back down again. And then you can see the way I'm able to squeeze it between my finger and my thumb. I'm squeezing that hook around the wire. The next trick then is with your right hand, which is my strong hand. Obviously if you're left-handed, do it backwards. Hold the wire halfway down, and then you grab the wire and you wind it, you bend it around once, around a second time, and around a third time, and you straighten it back out again. So that's the trick with wiring. I'll do it once more. So you get your piece of foliage, your left hand is on top, your right hand has the wire, and you make the hook with your right hand. You place the hook, it's not hooked around the stem, it's resting on the stem. So it can rest at the front or rest in the back, makes no difference at all. With your left hand, you grip that hook and you squeeze it onto the stem of foliage. With your right hand, you hold the wire halfway down. Everybody holds it up here, it's harder. Hold it halfway down. Grab the wire and bend it and twist it around once, around twice, around a third time, and straighten back out again. And there is your foliage wired up. So there's all my bunch of eucalyptus. I have one more piece here. My bunch of eucalyptus all wired up, getting the best mileage of it as I possibly can. And if you want to just use the eucalyptus, you can. You don't have to use the Q-Press or the Leylandii. So this is the bunch of Q-Press or Leylandii, and this is also sprayed copper. I don't actually have the copper spray handy to me, but just to show you, this is the brand I use. Now this is rose gold. I was doing one there earlier on today and it was rose gold, so that's how it's beside me. And the other one is outside, because I always spray outside because obviously it's easier and wear a mask. So it's made by the company called Oasis and it's waterproof. Now to be honest, if your wreath is inside in a portaway, you don't need a waterproof spray. So again with the Q-Press or the Leylandii, you can see the way I'm cutting in between the stem. So out of that one stem, I'm getting 4 little pieces out of it. So again, we take up this stem here, I'll cut that little chunk, that one there, I'll cut a little chunk out of it, and that one, I'll leave that little chunk together. And then I'll take up the next one, I'll probably have enough when I cut this one up, and again, I cut that chunk out, and that chunk out. And don't worry that they look a bit funny looking, the chunky pieces, it'll be absolutely grand. There you go. So you can see there, you get great mileage, and I've more of that left, you can use it if you want to. I'll see how I go. And these all have to be wired as well. So again with the wire, I'm making the hook, hairpin bend, wrap it around. Take up your piece of greenery, hairpin bend, wrap it around. So as you get more experience, you know, that way you will speed up a little bit. Now there is ways of doing these wreaths and not wiring and just kind of like poking it in and sticking it in, and it works out absolutely fine. And if this was fresh material, I'd probably do that. But I find when something is dried, it's a little bit crispier and there's more chance of it breaking. Did you see that with some of the eucalyptus? You know, that way if I squeezed it, it kind of crinkled and it kind of broke easy. So that's why I'm wiring it. This one's a bit bouncier, so I'll probably get away with not wiring it. But you listen, I started and I'm on a roll and I'm going to keep going. But if anybody is watching and they're saying, oh, you could do that without wiring it, you're dead right. You can do it without wiring. But I'm doing it this way. And I like, when I'm doing training, is to show people lots of different options. So again, if you're watching us over the 12 days of Christmas, every day it's a completely different door wreath. And you're not going to be watching a door wreath one of the days and saying, actually that's the same as she did yesterday, because it won't be. It'll always be different. There's hundreds of different ideas. And I'm not even going to get them all into the 20 days of Christmas that we call the 12 days. I have a few small little bits there and just kind of placing them together, the 2 or 3 little small bits, and again, wiring them up. So there's my Q-press wired up. So the next thing then is some pine cones and some orange slices, okay? So 20 pine cones here. I should have been a bit more organised and had them wired in advance, okay? And you could spray these, but I'm going to work by keeping these natural today rather than spraying them. But again, in one of the other days, the 20 days of Christmas, you will see where I've sprayed the cones different colours. But this one is going to have a little bit of an autumnal vibe to it. So maybe next year, we're already thinking ahead to next year. So for any of our Americans that's watching, and maybe you want something a little bit more Thanksgiving style rather than Christmas style, the design that I'm doing today will work out perfect as a Thanksgiving wreath or an autumnal door wreath. So it's not really Christmas as such. It'll do perfect for Christmas. That was the whole idea of it. But just looking at my materials, I'm kind of saying, do you know what, Janette? This we'll let you decide. When that's finished, you can decide yourself, do you think it would do for other years? So how am I wiring these pine cones, okay? So you get your same 20 gauge wire, and you place the wire in between the petals as close to the end as possible. And you leave a little bit of wire sticking out, and hold that with your thumb. The long bit of wire, you wrap that around the pine cone until it comes around and it meets the short little bit that you left sticking out. So that's why I'm telling you to buy the 12-inch wires, so you won't be skimping on the wire. Just crisscross them, just see, cross them over, and then just twist it twice with your finger and stop. Now, do you see that little bit sticking out? Don't worry about it. As you get more practice, you will leave less wire sticking out, a bit like the hairpin bend I showed you earlier on. So again, leave a little bit of wire sticking out, wrap the wire around till it meets it, and then just twist the 2 pieces together twice and don't leave it. Don't keep twisting and twisting the wire. All you're going to do is hurt your fingers, okay? And there's absolutely no need. Now, the great thing about this demonstration is you're seeing everything in live time. As in, I have had to wire all of the 20 pine cones in front of you. I've wired all the, 30 odd pieces of spruce in front of you. And in a couple of seconds, I'm going to wire all the lemon slices in front of you as well. So you can see exactly how long it takes to make this door wreath. And again then, when your local flower shop is selling it, you're going to appreciate the amount of work and effort that goes into this. And because I'm maybe, some of you, a little bit more experienced, you probably will find that I'm wiring them a little bit faster. And I'd say whoever counted them cones into that bag, there was more than 20. Next thing then is our orange slices. So what I'm going to do is overlap them. You can put them in 2s or 3s, it's completely up to yourself, okay? Overlap them. Stick the wire through that it goes through all 3 of them. Bend it over, so you're getting that hairpin bend again, and wrap the long one around the short one. So again, I'll do it. So that one's a bit battered. So get your 2 or 3 slices of orange, okay? Overlap them around each other. Get your wire, stick it through, that went through all 3 slices. Bend them over, so you're kind of making that hairpin bend, and then, just push that up there, because I didn't leave myself enough, wrap the long bit around the miserable little short bit that I left sticking out. You leave a longer bit, it'll be much easier for you. We'll do it again. So get your 3 orange slices, place them overlapping each other. Get your wire, stick it through, that it goes through all 3, leave it long enough that when you bend it over, you have that short little bit of wire sticking out. Grab the long wire halfway down, wrap it around the short bit sticking out 2 or 3 times, and there is your lemon slices or your orange slices wired up. The battered one I'm going to put in between the other 2 like a little sandwich. You can't even see it now, and again, nothing goes to waste. So always in a flower shop, we do try, again that one there is like the end of the lemons, you know, that way, just kind of like hide it between the other 2. and it'll be absolutely fine. It's a bit like making a sandwich out of them. And as I got down there, I see that there's another 2 pine cones. So definitely put more than 20 in that bag. So now I've everything more or less wired up for the moment, but I have got a selection of silk flowers, which I am going to add in as well, just to be a little bit different. Okay, all the hard work is done. Tidy it up there a little bit, push your rubbish over, and now we're ready to decorate. So first thing, I'm going to start with the Q-Press Leylandii. The trick I would say to you, the sides that you're working on, bring it over the edge of the table, close to your belly. Stick your wire down into the base, adjust your Q-Press wherever you want it, and then secure the wire underneath. I'll show you how I'm securing the wire. So again, stick it in, place it where you want, secure the wire underneath. Now can you see the way I'm spinning it around on the table? Slide in the wire, position it where I want, feel around till I feel the wire, and secure the wire underneath, which I'm going to show you in a second. But I just want to show you the top part first before I start showing you the bottom part, okay? So when you're sticking the wire through, sometimes it goes in really, really easy, and other times you'll hit a branch. So again, that's what I'm saying, you can adjust it. So I can have some of the greenery or some of the copper greenery looking in or looking out. So now I'm going to show you the underneath part. So when you stick the wire through, now you can see the way I did it over the edge of the table, okay? And I position it where I want it to be. Underneath here, this is where the wire came through. And what I'm doing is I'm making a horseshoe bend or a U bend and bending it back up into the frame. See, like that there? And pressing it just to secure it in place. And then I can have that to the outside or the inside. I'm going to show you again. Get your wire, slide it into the base. Secure the bit of foliage where you want it. Underneath here where the wire came through, bend it over and stick it back up into the base. Again, we'll do another one. Stick it into the base, the wire, secure that in place. Where the wire came through, bend it over, make a U-bend and secure that back up into place. So I'm now just going to fix them around. I'll hold it up just to let you see what it looks like. And I have a few more pieces which I'm now just going to divide up, kind of like maybe a little bit more towards the outside and maybe an odd time a little bit more towards the inside. Now that's a mistake people make when they're decorating door wreaths. They're inclined to concentrate only on the middle part of the ring. Where you'll find when you look at my door wreaths that I do, I work on the outside of the ring, the middle of the ring and the inside of the ring. So I end up that my door wreaths always look really, really full. I'll use it there, you can see where the wire is hitting a branch there and struggling, okay? Just if that happens, I just mess around until I find another spot and I stick it up into it. And if I find that that one is too long, which I think it is, I can just cut them off, just rewire them again, and now I've just got an extra piece. So again, don't be fussy. Vinicius knows, must be going to have a row with someone. Hopefully it's not Deirdre. So I have 1 or 2 more little bits of this left over, so I'm just going to use it up, and that's all the Leylandii of the copper spray used. Now a few more little spaces, I have more and I could put more in, but I have now the eucalyptus. So now I'm going to take my eucalyptus, which is already wired. There we go, come over here to me. I'm the messiest, dirtiest worker, and everything is inclined to go on the floor. I often look at them videos, you know, when they say like the good florist and the bad florist. I'm probably one of them bad florists. And I expect, when I would have been in a flower shop, I probably expected somebody else to tidy up after me. But now that I'm self-employed, I have to tidy up after myself. But it's probably the right way. You should really tidy up as you go along. But this sort of work is quite dirty and it is quite messy. So what I'm doing with the eucalyptus, by the way, is exactly the same technique. Now can you see the way I spin it around on the table? So again, I often look at people when they're making door wreaths and they're working over here. It's making it so much harder. Work over the edge of the table. So my wreath frame is actually sticking over the edge of the table here. So when I stick the wire in, this hand is underneath and it's actually finding the wire, feeling the wire. My right hand is on top, securing the item in place. So when I stick that down there, my right hand is holding it in place, my left hand is underneath, grabbing the wire and sticking it up into the base. And again, you can see the way I'm spinning it around on the table, looking for what we call our cop-on spots, as in I feel I need another bit over there, so we just spin it around on the table, and again I can stick in that last piece over there. Now, just felt that one wasn't secure enough, just going to put another wire on it, and I'm just going to go one more time. I just felt when I went in there wasn't anything to grip it onto. So sometimes it's a good idea when you stick something in that it's a little bit hard to stick it in, and then you know that's well gripped. So that's what it looks like so far with the bunch of eucalyptus. I see 1 or 2 bits still on the table there, and when I come across them I can just stick the extra bits in along with all the other stuff that I have. So I have them there, there's plenty of them. The next thing I have is the natural pine cone, which could be sprayed copper, but because I wanted to give this door wreath a little bit of a twist, as in it could do as an autumnal door wreath as well as being a Thanksgiving door wreath, I didn't want to make it too kind of like Christmassy looking. Now pine cones, yes, they are kind of like traditionally a Christmas item, but pine cones start falling off the tree, well depending on the country you're in I suppose, but normally the end of August, September here in Ireland, as soon as it gets windy. And if we have any Dublin people watching, up to the Phoenix Park you go. As soon as the kids go back to school, it's a great little pastime for them. Bring them up to the Phoenix Park with a plastic bag and tell them when they fill the plastic bag with pine cones, you'll buy them an ice pop on the way home. That's what we do in Ireland. That's how we bribe our kids. But again, in your own country, you probably know when the pine cones fall off the tree. So all of these wires are being stuck down into the base. The table, the wreath frame is over the edge of the table. My left hand is underneath there each time, meeting the wire. There's no wire sticking out the back of this frame. Every one of them are secured into the base, okay? So there's no fear of it scratching the door. People say about putting a plastic coating on the back of the bases to stop them scratching the door. If your wires are secured in really well, the way I'm bending them up, there's absolutely no need. Now again, when I'm placing in the pine cones, I'm not all the way around yet. I sometimes go to the inside, sometimes the outside. Inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside. So again, it gives me a chunkier feel to my door wreath rather than keep them immediately to the inner circle, which is what most people do. Now, again, because I'm demonstrating here, a lot of you might think, oh, I'm cheating and I'm sticking the wires in and I'm not bending them up underneath. Just to show you there, again, if you can look at it sideways, there's absolutely no wires sticking out the back. Every one of the wires has been bent up into the base. So I call my left hand my gynecology hand. So this hand doesn't need eyes, okay? It can feel around, it's feeling the wire, and it's doing all the work down here underneath. Any women that are watching, you can probably relate to what I'm saying here. So your left hand is your gynecology hand, or your postman's hand. It goes in through that letterbox. He doesn't know where it's going to land. So there should have been 20 cones in that bag. I'd say there was more than them. Is that issue here? You can use as many cones as you want. Now I still have some orange slices, obviously, and some eucalyptus. But also what I have here are some artificial flowers. So these are a kind of a coffee colour. And I just feel that these will work really well with the colour that I have, okay? So they're 3 beautiful roses. They're around €3 each. I'm actually going to cut them short here. So just get my scissors in there and cutting the tops off them. These were bought in from O'Neill's Flowers in Carlingford, and they have them in all different colours and lots of different styles of roses, okay? These are something that I would buy throughout the year, and I'd have them. So again, last autumn, so like even though I'm using this at Christmas, I bought this around September. It's kind of like a red berry. I'll use that foliage and something else. And I actually bought this around Halloween time. Again, it was an orange berry, and again you can see the way I'm cutting it up. And I mightn't use it all, I'm just going to cut up a little bit of it here, right? So just to give me a little bit of texture. I might use up more in a minute. So again, all of this material is going to be wired up the same way. I'm making that hairpin bend and I'm wrapping it around the stem of them. So these 3 roses are all just wired up individually on the 20 gauge wires. Now when you go into a shop that sells artificial flowers, and the likes of Pennies and Dunn's and some of the walk around shops, and if anybody was watching our videos recently where we were visiting some of the garden centres and the wholesalers, but the garden centres have a fabulous range of silk flowers. So have a look at them. And if you see, I'm going to say a bush, if you see like a bush of roses, and there might be 6 or 8 or 10 heads on the bush, look at it in, can I get my scissors and cut off all them heads individually and make 8 or 10 individual heads. It was like the orange berry. Like, I probably won't use it all, but look at the mileage. And that's why if you have them 20 gauge wires, remember I said about buying a big bunch of them, they won't go to waste. And we use 20 gauge wires the whole year round, not just at Christmas. So even if you're with me for maybe flower arranging, bridal floristry, funeral floristry, hotel decoration, I use these 20 gauge wires all the time so nothing goes to waste. So I think I'll start with the 3 roses first, okay? And again, I'm just going to divide them. So sticking the wire in, I have to say, it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at it down among the copper. I only had 3 of them. If I had more, I'd probably just keep it to this colour rose. I think it's absolutely fabulous with the copper. I'm falling in love with this one myself. I might actually use this one for my own holder. So there we go. There is our 3 roses divided up, okay? And then I have this kind of like winey maroony berry. Let's pull that one out there for a second. And I'm just going to add 3 little bits of this to the outside. Now again, the tricks that I've been showing you, the side I'm working on, I spin it around to me, to my belly, bring it over the edge of the table, stick in the wire, and again, secure it in place. So this was, as I said, was on a sprig. The 3 pieces was on the 1 sprig. One of them was a bit bigger than the other, but it's absolutely fine. That was the bigger one, but it doesn't matter. And that's what it's looking like so far. Now I have a little bit of orange berry. Now it is going to contrast, okay? But when I put in the orange slices, this is where it's all going to come together. But for anybody watching and you just liked it with just the cones, stop. It's your wreath. You make it whatever style you want. Because I'll always get comments, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Get away, Molly. Molly the dog is in the office today and she's an absolute torment of a dog. She's still at that puppy stage. So anything that she can get her hands on, that she can have a little chew with or bring back to her little bed, you know, that way you couldn't, and she's out of a plastic bag there now. She's just got a stick, that'll keep her going there for a little while. So that's what it looks like now, to see with a little bit of orange berry going through it. And then last but not least, I'm going back to my orange slices. And as I said, this is really going to give it that autumnal kick, you know that way? Autumnal theme, Thanksgiving, and yet it's still going to be Christmassy. And as I mentioned before, it all depends on what colour is your hall door, what colour door wreath you're going to pick. Like pick a door wreath that complements the colour of your door. So again, somebody had a wooden door, this would work out really well. Just to let you see them couple of orange slices through it. And I have a few more wired up here already. And I'm just going to bring a couple of these to the outside. Now this would be classed as a luxury door wreath. This one is going to be a little bit more expensive than the normal run-of-the-mill. But as I say, you pay for what you get. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, you know that way. So if you are looking for something a little bit more extravagant, you have to be willing to pay big money. But you listen, I'm after demonstrating how you can do it, so there's absolutely no reason why any of you watching there can't copy this. If you're watching it on YouTube, you'll probably always find us on YouTube. But if you're watching this on Facebook or on Instagram, chances are you'll struggle to find this video afterwards. So I'll give you a little tip. If you save it or if you share it, then you'll find it on your page. Now because I have 2 or 3 pieces of eucalyptus still wired up here, I'm just going to use it up just for the sake of using it up, okay? Because it's not going to be used in anything else because of the colour of it. So I'm just going randomly around, and there's not much, okay? And there's not really many gaps in the wreath. But anywhere that I just kind of feel that I can stick it in, I'm just sticking it in for the sake of it, because otherwise Molly's going to run away with it. Or, I'm struggling here with this one, get in there, get in there, get in there. Or it's just going to go in the bin. Now, here's my wire. Struggling there finding the wire, giving it a good chuck, hairpin bent up into it. I don't think I'm going to need much more in that door wreath. Love a little bit of feedback from you. Do you like it? Now I have to get a hanger on it. Now I could use orange ribbon, but you're not going to see the ribbon afterwards. So I'm getting a nice long piece of, this is just a fabric ribbon. I'm going to fold it over in half just to give me an extra bit of strength, okay? Because it is quite heavy, this wreath. I'm going to fish it through the back of the frame. So just like poking it in around where the metal frame is. There's one of them that's a little bit loose, so we'll just go in again. So just around the metal frame, you're not going to see the ribbon in the front. This wreath definitely doesn't need a bow. Well, obviously you can. And if you've been watching me over the 20 days of Christmas, you'll see lots of door wreaths where I'll make bows. But I want to be a bit different each day. So I'm fishing this through at the back, You can't see it in the front, okay? And I'll just bring the two ends nearly the same length. And now I'm going to tie these together in a double knot. So I'm basically tying onto the frame. That way then I can give it to the person who I'm going to give it to as a gift, that they can carry it home like that. And they're then going to use them strings to tie it on their knockers or their knobs. And then they're going to cut off the ribbon that's left over. So you're not going to see the ribbon, it's going to be tied securely. If they have one of them door hooks, they can just hook it straight onto the doorway. So there you go, you've seen that wreath being made from scratch. The only thing that you didn't see being made was the pre-made base, because I bought it in from O'Neill's already made. But the thing is, there's nothing to stop you making your own base. And if you follow us over on our YouTube channel, I have a step-by-step tutorial showing you how to make the base in mixed foliages from your own garden. And for anyone that prefers to make it on a straw base, on YouTube I have a step-by-step tutorial how to do a straw base, how to do a moss base, how to do a twig base, and how to do a sustainable base. So it's all over there on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you'll get a notification. Every morning during the month of December, I'm posting up top tips early in the morning, and then in the daytime, you're going to see one of these live demonstrations. Some days they'll be quicker than others because I'll have a lot of preparation work done, but today I wasn't prepared, so you've seen everything from scratch. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to share, and if you want a free Christmas tutorial, put the word Christmas in the comments below.